Hi and welcome to Arise Cake Creations. I'm Sarah, and on this tutorial I'm showing you how to make this simply beautiful Japanese anemone, also known as an Honorine Jobert. So let's get started. As always, I will leave all of the information for the equipment in the description box below. If you don't have all of the equipment, I've also included a free template so you can make this flower too. The recipe for my easy gum paste is also in the iCard. We're going to begin by making the centre, so you'll need some 28 gauge florist wire and some white cotton thread. You're going to make a hook in the 28 gauge florist wire, and then you're going to take the white cotton thread and wind it round your index finger and the second finger along, literally about 35 to 40 times. Cut the thread and then remove the threads from your two fingers. Twist the threads once into a figure 8 shape. Hook the 28 gauge wire over the centre and twist the wire in place to secure it. Then tape the base of the threads with some half-width mid-green florist tape. Use some scissors to cut the looped end. These are now the stamen. The stamen need to be cut to a length of about 1.5 centimetres. Then use your fingers to spread the threads into a circle shape. Use some edible petal dust to dust over the stamen. Now I'm using a mixture of Sugar Flares Primrose and Egg Yellow. To make the pollen for the stamen, mix together some fine cornmeal or semolina mixed with some petal dust. Now I'm using Primrose and Egg Yellow again, but you can use an alternative brand with a similar colour shade. Brush some edible glue onto the tips of the thread, then dip it into the pollen. You can use a pin to separate any clumped threads. To make the round seed head, you will need some 24 gauge wire. Use some pliers to make a hook in the end of the wire. Then you will need some light green Gumpaste made into a ball shape. That shape will need to be around 0.8 centimetres to 1 centimetres or 0.60 grams. To secure the wire to the gum paste, you can either use a blowtorch or use some edible glue, brushed onto the wire and then pushed into the gum paste. Now if you use the edible glue, you will need to wait for it to dry. If you use the blowtorch, the gum paste will secure onto the wire immediately, therefore it can be used immediately. To make the pollen for the round seed head, again use fine cornmeal or semolina mixed with petal dust. Now I'm using Sugar Flares Primrose and Spring Green, but again you can use whatever colours you have to make this colour. Brush some edible glue evenly over the seed head, then dip it into the pollen. Knock off any excess pollen. When your stamen and seed head are dry, carefully thread the seed head down through the centre of the stamen and secure in place with some half-width mid-green florist tape. For the wide petals, I'm using a rose petal cutter that is 2.5 centimetres in width and 3.3 centimetres in length. It's also included in the template. Take some white gum paste and condition it very lightly with some vegetable shortening. Then roll it very evenly and thinly over a groove board. Using a petal pad and ball tool, gently widthways stretch the petal and also lengthen the petal, and then with your ball tool half on the pad and half on the petal, thin the petal edges as well. Brush some edible glue onto some 28 gauge wire and gently thread the wire into the petal. Place the petal into a silicone rose mould to make the first impression of veins. Then use a veining stick to create more texture on the surface of the petal by rolling from one side to the centre, then the other side to the centre. Gently shape the petal to have some movement and then lay it to dry on a bumpy foam pad. Now this particular flower has 6 to 9 petals, so make all of the other petals in exactly the same way. So I promised you a beginner-friendly version for this flower. On the template there is a 5 petal blossom. Now if you have the actual cutter, then that can be used too. You can roll out the gum paste with a cell pin if you have it, or a regular pencil or paintbrush. Roll out the gum paste from the centre outwards, leaving a slight raised part in the middle. This is called a Mexican hat, and this is where the centre will be able to secure to. You can also roll it flat if you are unable to do this method, but if you can try practicing to achieve this Mexican hat, then it will be much better. With the template, cut out a small hole in the middle to place over the raised part, or place the cutter over the raised part. Make sure it's cut out cleanly. Using a ball tool and the petal pad or a sponge, make sure to actually make the petals wider and also lengthen them as well. You can use a veining tool or an alternative tool that won't cut through each petal to make the veining lines in all of the petals. Roll another piece of gum paste completely flat and then cut out a second blossom. This time you will only need about 3 to 4 petals cut away. Prepare these petals in exactly the same way, so stretch them, lengthen them and then vein them. Take a glass with some foil moulded over the glass. Place the full-size blossom into the mould, then brush some glue into the centre and arrange the 3 to 4 petals into the centre. Then take the stamen and the seed head and secure it into place into the centre with some edible glue. To give the petals some movement, use some tissue or kitchen paper to position the petals into place. Set your completed flower aside to dry. To assemble the petals of the wired flower, take your petal and bend the wire at a 90-degree angle. Do this for all of the petals. Have some half width mid-green florist tape ready and take the first petal and begin to gently and carefully tape it onto the centre of your flower. Do this for every single petal. First the 5 petals, and they need to overlap each other as I'm showing you here, and then the last 3. However, in this one I didn't use all 9 petals that I cut. I ended up only using 8 petals. Here are the 2 versions side by side, the wide version and also the one using the blossom cutter. I think they're both equally as beautiful. Such a simply beautiful flower. Now remember, if you make this flower or any other tutorials that I've taught, please share it with me on Instagram or Facebook, #AriseCakeCreations. Please like, comment, share and subscribe and hit that notification bell. Okay, thanks for watching. See you soon.